We're live. Sure.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'd like to call this meeting of the Dauphin County Industrial Development Authority to order for Thursday, February 20th. And take a roll call. Mr. McHale.
Here.
Mr. Rickards.
Here.
Mr. Steck. So we have three. We have a quorum present. Public participation. We have folks, Brian from Rock Capital, Jim Roxbury from Roxbury News, Sean Kitchen. Sean, are you here on behalf of?
Jason.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything that you gentlemen would like to say as members of the public? Thank you for being here. Hearing no further members of the public or seeing any public participation, I will turn the meeting over to Latoya because we have to reorganize since we didn't have a meeting on January.
So under the governing documents for the authority, you're required to reorganize and elect officers in 4 positions. That would include chairman, vice chairman, 5 positions, if I can count. Chairman, vice chairman, secretary, treasurer, and assistant secretary treasurer. Is there a motion or for nomination?
I move to nominate Matt Steck to remain as chairman.
Second that.
You can nominate yourself. Or
Since you did one, you have a motion on the floor for 1 position, but you can put forward a slate, but we can do it one by one if that's what you want to do. It's fine. So there's a motion and a second to nominate Mr. Steck as chairman. Any discussion?
No. Do you still want it?
yes, I guess. Yes, I'd be glad. I'd be honored. Thank you.
So I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
So now I can take the meeting over.
I will turn the meeting back over to Mr. Steck, assuming you're not going to be nominated for any additional positions.
I do not believe I will be. I guess I will make a motion to nominate Doug Rickards for vice chairman.
Second.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion with a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion carries. I would like to nominate Steve McHale for secretary and treasurer.
Second.
Just to be clear, that's 2 positions.
Secretary
That's fine.
and treasurer, but yes, 2 positions. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Do you want it?
Sure, yeah.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, the ayes have it. And we need an assistant secretary treasurer. And it should be
It would be my recommendation that it not be
the
the
secretary.
chairman or
Okay.
someone that's typically signing things that would have their signature attested to by the secretary. That would just be the recommendation and not the chairman.
If I'm unable to sign something and Doug signs it, so from a,
So it doesn't, since there's only 3 current members on the board, it doesn't mean that, an issue may not come up that, may be tricky or may need to be addressed. I don't have any information in terms of whether or not, there are appointments in the pipeline or underway, but
I'm not.
according to your governing documents, these positions should be filled with current board members.
Okay, we can reorganize at any time though, once the 2 other slots are filled.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion so you think it should be somebody different than the secretary or the treasurer. So I will nominate Doug Rickards as the assistant secretary treasurer.
So, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? It's very complicated. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise, the ayes have it. Thank you for agreeing to serve both of you. We appreciate it.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman, just so if I wasn't clear, the assistant secretary treasurer is one position.
Yes, one position. Because there's five, yes.
Yes.
Five. Thank you. All right. Sent to you were the minutes of the December 19, 2024 meeting. And I will make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 19, 2024 meeting as submitted.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion from you?
Nope.
Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Now, what we've all been waiting for. Thank you, Autumn, for your hard work. I appreciate it very much. We appreciate it very much. I'll make a motion to approve the financials from January through September of 2024. They were forwarded to you, and I'm going to divide this up into.
You have 23 events on January
23 events. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to divide them up because, as you know, when our fiscal year ends, then we started a separate fiscal year, but within the calendar year. So I'll make a motion to accept financials from January through September of 2024, pending an audit.
Second.
Any discussion?
What does approval really mean in the context of we've just received this morning? So
It means that we will accept these financials as they were produced, and they then will be reviewed, during the audit. And so if you have questions, if you want more time to review, we can postpone that until the next meeting. If you'd like time to look through them. Really, it was just a matter of what we did in terms of loading them onto the new system, which took some time because of the way the system is operating. Autumn, I don't know if you have anything, George, if you have any thoughts. Okay. Do you have any thoughts?
No, I agree with what you said. If there's a thought to take more time to review or possibly, ask questions, you can either withdraw your motion or, present a motion to table or proceed and call the vote.
Okay. Mr. McHale, how do you feel? What is your pleasure?
I certainly will review them.
If you
And I
want,
guess that,
if you want time, I will withdraw my motion and we can do it at the next meeting.
yeah, let's put one step together.
Okay, I will withdraw that motion then to accept financials pending audit. And I will not then offer the second phase of the October through December. But you have those to look at as well. And if you have any questions, then please follow up with Autumn or with me or George if there's any questions that you have on those financials.
Sure, I think in your email, you had said that you're still firming some stuff up. So, would we expect changes to any of them or what?
It's not changes. The financials are, the data that's in there isn't going to change. There's two bank accounts that have some errors that just have to have adjustments to them. And so those will get added to them.
So we have a motion to table. I will make that motion to table.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McHale. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Autumn, do you want to talk about the check register?
Sure. So also sent to you today was the check registers for all of the accounts in the IDA. They are approved by George and also by Matt. And just as practice, I'm sending them to all board members so that you can see all of the activity as payables that go out.
Are we also sending those to the chief clerk and assistant chief clerk?
We can. in whatever process you want that to be.
Yeah, I think, as you know, when you sent the last batch of checks for review, I forwarded that to Mr. Pease and Mr. Haggerty for their review as well, in case the commissioners, who actually approved the subject of the awards of the checks, just to make sure that they were okay with that. And so I want to make sure that they get it as well, just for more checks and balances, so that we're doing everything in a transparent manner and there's no questions about
Are
it.
you wanting me to have an approval by them before they are?
No, I think, no, because they don't have, I don't believe they have an official capacity to approve them. They've already approved the awards per se.
Right.
But I just want
It's
them to
just
make sure
an
that they,
FYI for
yeah,
them. Okay.
so that they're not caught off guard or they
Sure.
don't remember something, because I know they have a lot to look at as well. So I would appreciate that. If we could just send them along. Now, if they have questions, obviously, then you can raise that or George can raise that, when we have our meetings. There shouldn't be, because they've, made the approvals, but I just want to make sure that they have an opportunity to look at that as well. I don't think we need a motion to do that, do we? Thanks, Autumn. I know there was a lot of work. I appreciate it. Trying to deal with a new system, so. Solicitors report and action items.
No report.
There will be no need for executive session today. I will make a statement, at the beginning of this, that at least it's just more for an informational point. When we have meetings in the future, because the public comes out and, it's difficult for them to come out and then have to leave the meetings. I would ask that the board members show up 30 minutes in advance if we need to have an executive session, so that we can have an executive session. There may not be any action taken. We will report on that at the meetings if there's, that we've held an executive session, but it's something that, the commissioners are doing in terms of meeting in executive session and reporting that at their legislative meetings. So I'd like to follow that kind of order so that we don't have to make people who come out here and, want to participate in from a public standpoint, then turn around and have to leave the room. And also because I know sometimes we've gone into executive session, it seemed to be, an inordinate amount of time to discuss some things. I'd rather have us do that at the front end so that we can report to members of the public so that they're aware of what we've met on or the subject of what we've met on. I just want to point that out. So there's no need for an executive session today. Any new business? Mr. Connor?
No, sir.
Any old business? Solar farm update.
So,
The authority continues to work with the potential purchaser of the solar farm on that project. The update is it's anticipated that the transaction should close in the first quarter of 2025, and that's where we are.
Okay. Thank you. Gaming program update.
We finalized we had all of our local share public hearings, and we will be working with the Gaming Advisory Board and staff to gather our recommendation list to be able to submit to the Board of Commissioners here before, hopefully by April.
Thank you. Infrastructure Bank,
no update,
small business loan program,
no update.
correspondence and miscellaneous items.
Yeah.
We have none. Board comments. Before we go into board comments, we have Pam.
Pamela Parsons.
Pamela
Yes.
Parsons is also here. Pam, I will kind of take this out of order. We had an opportunity at the beginning of the meeting for public participation. We are live streaming this.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it's a 3-minute, although I know that you adhere to that 3-minute rule. But I didn't know if you had any comments that you wanted to make. I'll allow that at this time.
Well, I'm just wondering, and I haven't looked it up, so I'll be honest. So I'm wrote it right on my list here. Is public in when I go to city council, Public participation is at the beginning of the meeting. In a legislative meeting, it is at the end of a meeting when there is a work session. At the county, they do both. In the beginning, and prison board does this too, you can comment only on items that are on the agenda, and then other public comment is at the end. Are there particular rules in the way authority meetings where public participation must appear?
That's a good question.
So under the Sunshine Act, the agency or, body can designate all public comment to be given at the meeting.
Okay, all right. Well, because there is so little available to the public in advance of the meeting, I am familiar with the Sunshine Act. And I know that this board meets the letter of the law in how you advertise meetings and how you make them open to the public. However, does not meet the spirit of the law. And I will continue to remind you of that. There's very little on here that really gives any member of the public an opportunity to actually know what it is that you are doing today. And the comments, that you've all made, that are, you're working with the purchaser on the solar farm and you're gonna, it's gonna be settled in the first quarter. Yeah, but that doesn't tell me much. The gaming program update. I can give you some feedback on that. The live stream was awful. It was impossible to understand what people were saying. And I could not be here in public, and I gave up watching it because it was unusable. Yes, you tried, and I'm very glad for that. But I would urge you for that in the future to get out of this office and go downtown and use what is there so that the public can easily access it and the public can, whether in person or online. There were a number of gaming grants that I would have requests that I really would have liked to have given some feedback on. And there was no opportunity to do that. There are some that I have real concerns about. Basically, I got right to know requests on when these folks have come to you previously asking for money. And I have some real concerns about what people said on applications versus what they actually did with that money. So I have questions about who does the due diligence to make sure that what people put on applications is actually what they do, or that they have the proper credentials and capacity to do those things.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
I will point out, from a board comment standpoint, I'm not sure that you're aware of this, but this office will be relocated.
I'd heard that,
And
yes.
it will be relocating in March. So I would assume that our next meeting will not be here. I'm not sure that we'll be in the commissioners' conference room, if you will, where they hold the county meetings, but they're looking at potentially the second floor conference room, which is where the tax assessment board meets,
Yes.
or used to meet, sorry. And I don't know what kind of live stream is set up there or if there's any.
They say they're equipped.
Yeah.
So,
Everyone has them. I go to the so.
We're at the mercy of what is provided to us by our IT department.
but it's different than the OWL.
It is, we wouldn't be using
Yeah.
it now, I don't know.
Yeah, and so I think that might make it easier. I don't know in the future if the gaming advisory board will meet there, but I assume that that's probably where they will.
We have to
But,
decide.
so we heard what you're saying.
Okay.
And in terms of public participation, we will certainly take that into consideration and have some conversations about that. I think that it's important. I know that sometimes the agenda seems vague, even to those of us who are here. But at the same time, I want to make sure that you're getting the information that you need. So I appreciate those comments.
And for instance, I had to look up what DCIB
The
was.
infrastructure bank, right?
Yep.
Right.
How were the Harrisburg University meeting? How was that? Did you see that?
I did not see that one, no. I reached my capacity for meetings that week.
No problem.
Any other board comments?
Do we need to discuss what I called you about?
Or he mentioned that his office is moving, and so the meetings will likely be in a new location. The authority will advertise or meet the requirements for alerting the public of where the meeting will be located, the time and date.
Yeah, I mean,
And of course, if there's business to be conducted, an agenda that reflects that.
I believe that for at least the foreseeable future, we'll keep the meetings at the same time.
Okay.
I know that's not convenient for everybody, and including those of us who are business owners, but, we serve on this board as volunteers, so we'll continue to do that. If there's a better time, we can certainly have that conversation as we move forward, but I know we will be re-advertising, at least for the remainder of this year, in terms of the change of location. All right, any other comments? Look for a motion to adjourn
So moved. Second?
by Mr. Rickard, seconded by Mr. McHale. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise. And the next meeting is March 20th. So, now that I say that. That's good. I didn't ask if I had 20, that was in January. All right, so we are adjourned at 12:25. I will now call the Dauphin County Economic Development Corporation meeting to order at 12:25 for February 20th. And let the record reflect that we have Mr. McHale here, Mr. Rickards here, and Mr. Steck. So we have a quorum. Public participation, again, the same folks that we had earlier, and Pam Parsons. So if there's anybody that wants to make a comment about the EDC agenda at this point.
Can I ask what time this meeting was set on for?
12 p.m. Yeah,
Thank you.
they run concurrent generally. I don't think we've ever changed the,
I just had a question. I didn't know if it was scheduled at 12 or 12:30.
no.
Okay,
We've always run them in my 20 years concurrent, one after the other.
thank you.
Pam, did you have something to do with
Just, if you're willing to answer a question, I'm just wondering, what is, you have a quorum, but how many openings do you have? How many people are
We
actually?
have two.
We have two
You have
openings. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's all.
And I know that Commissioner Douglas, all the commissioners have, asked people to submit names for consideration on the boards. And I've gotten no direction from the commissioners as to who they're going to appoint. Maybe, you have, but I've not.
I know it's on their to-do list, but I think other matters have been prioritized.
I would hope that we have a full complement sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And to their credit, I mean, the county did advertise all of the boards and commissions that had openings. The problem is that it didn't tell you how many openings
Right.
were each one, when they meet, what the time commitment would be, and length of terms, and some of them have very specific ways in which people have to apply
Mhm.
and specific requirements, so it didn't include any of that, and that sort of thing would be going help.
Yeah, I believe in terms of the IDA EDC that it's just a general application. I don't know that there's any
Yeah.
specific.
It's a general application back
Through the
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you, of course, you should live in the county.
Yes, you have to be a resident. Yeah.
So thank you.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to turn the meeting over now to Latoya.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the board needs to reorganize at this meeting and elect officers. The officer positions include a chairman, vice chairman, secretary, treasurer, and assistant secretary treasurer. Is there a nomination or motion?
I will make a motion to elect Mr. Steck as chairman, Mr. Rickards as vice chair and also assistant secretary treasurer, and myself as the secretary and also the treasurer.
Second. Thank you, Stephen. Any,
Any discussion?
is good.
Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I will turn the meeting back over to the chairman, Mr. Matt Steck.
Thank you, Latoya. Sent to you were the minutes of the December 19, 2024 meeting. I believe they're a fair reflection of the meeting. So I will look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries. Acceptance of the financials of January 2024 through 2025. I believe that they're not in.
So I would recommend that we do the same as we did for the IDA. I would anticipate that in the next week, you're going to have a similar file that you'll be able to review and then be able to accept at large for the next meeting.
Great. Thank you, Autumn. So I will make then a motion to table acceptance of the financials until the meeting of March 20th.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries. Solicitors report and action items.
No report.
Thank you. There will not be any need for an executive session.
So,
Okay, so we will go over that. New business. Booking agreement with Troutman Music Group.
yeah, this agreement is for the production company that will run our cultural festival, which will be I think it's August 16th, if I'm not mistaken. We have coming Maze, We Are, the World Tour, the Legacy of Frankie Beverly. Queens of Soul is our theme this year. We're gonna have Melissa Morgan, Kiki Wyatt, and Evelyn Champagne King. And the stage band will be UGO. And we've been doing cultural festival for the last, I think this is the 17th year, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a free concert to all, not only Dauphin County residents, but anyone can come. And usually you see a lot of people from out of town there with different bands from different genres of music. And that's the whole purpose of the tourism program, is to generate and attract tourism from outside of the county for people to come and stay at our hotels, eat at our restaurants, shop at our retail stores, and assist our economy with tourism. That's the reason that we have the tourism dollars, the hotel tax, and we try to generate events that will draw traffic back into Dauphin County.
Okay, so we need a motion to sign the agreement.
To clarify some of what George said, what's on the agenda is the booking agreement
Booking.
for the main artist.
Okay. And in the past, we've done, I know that Troutman Music Group, we've done business with them before, if my memory serves me correctly. Maybe at the Cultural Fest, maybe at other things. Is that-
Yeah, possibly.
Okay. All right, so I will look for that motion to sign the booking agreement with the Troutman Music Group.
So moved. Second.
The motion and second, any discussion?
The wrinkles were ironed out from last month or 2 months ago?
Sure, so at the last meeting, the agreement was, presented on the agenda. I've given a legal review of the agreement and sent back revisions which were accepted by the booking company. And so, yes, that has been ironed out.
Okay.
And just to give more information, the recommended changes were around insurance, who's responsible under the agreement to pay. I think there was language like that the officer signing would guarantee payment. No, board members don't do that. So those are the types of changes that we're seeing.
And this is coming out of the EDC general fund, or is this a grant? It's
Yes, it'll be a grant out of the tourism program.
okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, the ayes have it, motion carries. Old business, staff program reports. Mr. Connor?
Yeah, so I'll just go down straight. We'll talk about CDBG. Community Development Block Grant is a program for low-income individuals in our community. 3 national objectives are elimination of slum and blight, any urgent need in the community, and assistance to low-income individuals. We normally have an allocation of about 1.4 million for those dollars that are grant dollars strictly for communities, nonprofits, and municipalities that have over 51% no mod percentage on HUD-based Section 8 scale based off of income levels. And some of the projects include infrastructure projects, which would be out of the public infrastructure category in the application. It could do sewer lines, water lines, road reconstruction, stormwater lines, whatever type of infrastructure a community needs to assist its low-income individuals. That's what these dollars are for. And there's also a public service component category out of that program as well. And that is for nonprofit entities that are assisting low-income individuals in Dauphin County. And that, mainly those are for the unhoused projects that we have. It could be for any type of public service that organization is doing, whether it be the Salvation Army, Goodwill, whatever it may be. It's multiple different public service activities that happen in the county to assist people in need of those type of services. The home program is the sister program of CDBG, and we are one of 3 grantees in the state of PA. Entitlement communities and participating jurisdictions, PJs, Dauphin County, the city of Harrisburg, and the state of Pennsylvania, DCD department. Our home program, we run our housing rehab program out of that. We run our first-time homebuyers program out of that program. And we also assist CHODOs, which is a community housing development organization, which their strict and main focus and mission is for affordable housing development in Dauphin County. And that's what the home program is for. These programs will open up on, I think, end of September, early August, and then the deadline date of probably the first week in November. So application's not open now at this time, but we just wanted to give you an update on the program and how it works and the benefits of the grant dollars from HUD. And this is strictly a federal program from the Housing and Urban Development Department.
Both the CDBG and the home. Are there concerns or have we heard anything about the reduction or, halting of the federal funds in those programs?
Yeah, we're a member of the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Authorities in the United States. They're a lobbying firm that basically entities like housing authorities and redevelopment authorities, they, pay a membership fee for these guys to go in and lobby the Senate and Congress for these particular programs. These particular programs are always on the cutting block. Usually, obviously, defense in the Army and military usually receives a lot of the budget dollars from Congress. So it's a constant battle to fight for these individuals, for the unhoused and low-income individuals for these programs. So we'll find out more. There's usually a national conference every year in March in DC, where we get to go down and talk to our senators and congressmen about the programs and about successful projects that we've done here in Dauphin County to assist these low-income individuals and the unhoused and things of that nature that these programs are eligible for. So that being said, they need to hear the benefits of these programs so they're not cut. When I started back in 2002, we received over $2 million a year for our CDBG program. Our home program was about maybe $700,000 or $800,000, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I know CDBG was like 1.9, almost 2 million, and obviously, like I said, now 22 years later, it's been steady at about 1.4 million. So it's constantly been cut every year, due to budget cuts from HUD. So we'll see what happens this year. I know when President Trump was in office the first time, this program was on the chopping block to be cut. So obviously there's been some federal holds on some grants. We do have an EPA grant from the Brownsfield program that we applied for. We received $500,000 about a year and a half ago. And fortunately, that program was not put on that freeze. We got lucky with that. There's a lot of projects that we're doing in the community to assist. You can do phase 1 and phase 2 ESA assessments in Dauphin County. And like I said, that program wasn't put on freeze because it wasn't in the IIJ program, which was put on freeze. So we were fortunate to not be in that cycle to be frozen. But that's kind of where we're at. We're constantly fighting for these people that need assistance in the county. So we're good.
Can you approximate how many individuals and entities this program serves in the county?
Yeah, so as far as the application process goes, we usually receive about, like I said, it's 1.4. It's normally between $3 and $4 million worth of requests. Normally, it's been a little bit light lately due to the program regulations from HUD. They're very tight, restrictive. So a lot of communities may not potentially apply for the program due to those restrictions. That's just my personal opinion. But when the program opened up, we would have over $5 million worth of requested applications. Similar to gaming, there was a lot of requests, but now it's just not as much because there's not enough dollars to hand out. So that's the problem with the program. It's limited funds. But as far as numbers go, we do have what's called I forget the name of it, but basically it's a system, IDIS system. You have to put in who you served in your communities, and it spits out numbers or whatever it may be. I can get you a report on that. I don't know off the top of my head because I'm not in the system anymore.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'd be curious because certainly it's a program that goes to people that are struggling, need help, and seeing the real number of people that could be affected or the number of people that we can help. That's a good thing to know.
Yeah, it all depends on what the grant's for. If it's a nonprofit entity, they may be helping 50 to 100 different low-income youth in whatever type of program they're running. If it's a sewer line, water line, stormwater line, street improvements, it's going to benefit a community.
Right.
They'll have the numbers on that. It may be 20 or 50 houses, whatever it may be. It all depends on the application process and what they have identified in the application of assisting the number of people in the community. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thanks, George. Tourism,
The tourism program opened January 1st, 2025. We have a portal system, all electronic process now. It's paperless. It's efficient. Brooke runs the program. She does a great job with that. And like I said, we're currently, people are putting applications in the system. Deadline date is April 1st. So that being said, we won't know until that deadline date at 4:30 April 1st on how many applications we have. This program has been overpopulated since I started here in 2002. The county only did a max of $2,000 for these grants back then. And we only received about 750,000 or so, if I'm not mistaken.
is this from the hotel tax?
Yes.
Okay.
So now the hotel tax is about $14 million that we receive. And there's a formula-based percentage on how that 5% hotel tax is split up in the county. And that's a legislative issue. That's not us. That's not the commissioners. It's the House of Representatives, I think, make that determination on how to split those dollars up. And that being said, we get about 3% of that. Hershey, HE&R for the Giant Center receives about 4.5 million out of that 14. The Visitors Bureau receives a portion, and the city of Harrisburg. So it's all split up with different percentages on how those dollars come in. And like I said, it's not a property tax or a real estate tax. It's strictly an assessment fee
The room tax.
for a room tax for the hotels per room stay night. So, and like I said, we've done a great job here. Like I said, 14 million. Like I said, back then it was, I'm thinking 750, maybe close to $1 million, but I know it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't much.
Do we know, so we know, I guess the Visitors Bureau gets changed, some of it. Do we know what the city of Harrisburg does with theirs? Is there an application process that they've set up or any?
No.
Or is it something that we can't really determine?
Yeah, I don't know what the city does with their dollars. I know there's a percentage in there that is for the Civil War Museum. Back when Mayor Reed was in office, I think they knew that the Civil War Museum was going to struggle initially to get attendees there. So they put a percentage out of the Visitors Bureau's revenue to go to the Civil War Museum. I think that's about 280, 250 something. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere in that range. And I think that agreement is still in place. I'm not sure because we really have nothing to do with that. That's between the city and the Civil War Museum. I think the city does mostly like Capona, Arts Fest, or whatever festivals they do on City Island, fireworks, whatever it may be. I would imagine they use the money for that. I don't know. But, obviously we have our grant program. Commissioners allocate dollars to draw back in tourism,
Right.
revenue back to Dauphin County and back into the fund as well.
Have we increased hotel occupancy in the county since this program, the tax started, or does this speak to also
Yeah.
how much more tourism is driving?
Yeah, there's something that's called the STAR report. The STAR report basically spits out exactly what you're saying. Occupancy rates, room nights, whatever it may be. There's a bunch of different categories in that report. We can get that to you. The Visitors Bureau gets those reports. So
Well, there's certainly more hotels than there was
there's
back then.
way more hotels. And like I said, I don't know that number. I know now it's over 8,000 hotel rooms here in Dauphin County. I think it's like 8.3, something like that. I don't know off the top of my head, but back then it was probably maybe 6,000. I don't know. I would have to research that. But yeah, it's definitely way more hotel rooms now. So obviously it's going to generate more revenue and more availability for tourists to come in and stay in the county. I know part of the problem, not the problem, but I know, what's been occurring is Airbnbs have been coming up, the Virgos, and I don't think they pay a tax. So when someone stays at an Airbnb, they're not paying that 5% hotel tax. So that hurts us financially, revenue-wise. And I know there was a process to try to have the legislators throw a tax on the Airbnb people that are renting their house out, not paying into the hotel tax, because we are losing revenue with that. And a lot of people stay in Airbnbs. I mean, I do. We try to save money, whatever it may be. If it's cheaper than a hotel room, so be it. But should they pay a tax? Yeah, I think they should pay a tax. I think that would be fair, but it's just my opinion. Who am I, right? But it is a loss of revenue.
Thanks. Any other questions? Correspondence and miscellaneous items?
Did you want me to talk about, we just, Commissioners just approved the DC Live
Sure,
concert.
yeah, I mean, I know it was covered in, one newspaper, but go ahead.
Yeah, so, Commissioners just approved the DC Live concept, which basically was created, Commissioner Douglas and I were talking when we first got in office, and, it was the South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. I had never been, he had been, and he said, it was a really neat event, they draw a lot of tourism, he goes, we should try to do something like that. So we're kind of at that point now, trying to generate something that's very similar to that, and I did some research on it, and, like I said, and I said this in a public hearing, and found out that back in '87, it was started in Austin, Texas, and they anticipated to have 700 people, no, 150 people, they had 750. Now it's over 300,000 people attend this thing. And it's more of, and the economic impact is about $377 million. Is what the numbers that are, generated and what they are reported as. So, but their piece is, it's a musical festival. It's technology, education, and has a film component as well. So we're looking to do probably some film process with that and the music. We probably won't do education or technology on the first run. We need to make sure we get it up and running and it's successful for the first time, and then we'll probably add pieces to that.
Perhaps you can show Mr. Roxbury's film at the festival.
I understood that. Yeah, we worked with the creators of the festival in 2006. We filmed there several times.
At South by Southwest.
See that you get your information off Wikipedia, very accurate there. Good for you, George.
Where else would we get it?
Well, I think that the group that's in place come out of Live Nation. A lot of the folks that I looked at are all former Live Nation folks.
Right.
And, I hope that, I know that there was some comments made at the board meeting, at the commissioners meeting. I hope that there is a consideration of, the type of artists that folks hear. People will come in from out of town. I know that when you look at what's gone on with the Sundance Festival and the hotels there and some of the complaints about, people coming in and staying there just 1 or 2 nights versus staying for a week or staying in Hershey, whatever. I think, I hope that there's some sensitivity to the comments that were made. I can see both sides, and I think it's an ongoing process, and I wish it well. But I think it does take a community to kind of build it in a way that is meaningful. So I look forward to seeing, what our former member, Mr. Schofield, and others, come up with.
Yeah, and like I said in the public hearing that, these tourism dollars, this is what these dollars are for. They're not for unhoused projects or to try to balance the budget, whatever it may be. I mean, we have dollars for that. So, these dollars are to generate revenue into tourism and to have more people come in and stay in Dauphin
And have an
County.
economic impact, yeah.
And we're gonna have a three day event. With the music piece, it'll probably be a 1 day, so we'll have it up to 4 days. So hopefully we'll get people to come in and stay 2-3 nights.
Right.
Should be a beneficial concert. And I know the hotels and the restaurants on 2nd Street really love the old HU concert. So, it was packed down there, and they appreciate that.
I have a good question.
Yeah.
Are those tickets gonna be handed out for free, like they were in the past? I know past concert series on the waterfront and the riverfront, it was very easy to get your hands on free concert tickets, whether you were at a coffee shop or if you knew any of the commissioners. So will that same practice happen, or will people actually have to purchase these tickets?
Don't know off the top of my head, like I said, it's the first time we've done this. So obviously the tickets will be for sale, online. As far as comp tickets go, I'm not sure about that. I think that depends on the sponsors that are involved. That's how the comp tickets are generated, so they aren't paid for, but they're just, that's how the sponsorships. But just check back in, we'll let you know.
Who provides security for this? Who pays for that?
Harrisburg Police,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
You do realize that Harrisburg Police we are down 30 officers. And were there negotiations with the city before this proposal was brought forward?
Before,
Yeah,
yes, I did contact the mayor. We have not sat down and worked out a schedule. Normally with our county concerts, we combine, security entities. So I know for the cultural festival, like I said, this is the first time we're doing this one, so for cultural festival, we have the sheriff's department, the county CID department, we have a couple of Harrisburg city cops, and
so
that's
just
pretty
a
much
few.
it. We probably, and the probation officers as well.
Okay, so you
Adult probation. There's probably, maybe 10 to 15. And then there's some undercovers that you don't know.
That's fine. I get it. But just that
Does that answer your question?
kind of. I mean, it tells me that you didn't really have this discussion prior to this. And it is concerning to me that to hear you say that Commissioner Douglas brought this to you, saying, we need to think about doing what South by Southwest is.
Well, I said that in the public presentation.
Okay, yep. Now, and I said, I was one of those people who made comments that day. So, for the rest of the folks who didn't hear my comments that day, while the city is always acted upon, other people come in all the time and use our services, whether it's the county or the state or whatever, and we are never compensated for the real cost of those services. We are still in financial difficulty. And just saying that, oh, it's gonna bring all this tourism dollars in. Most of those restaurants on 2nd Street are not owned by people who live in the city and do not benefit the majority of us who live in the city. There are only 2 hotels in the city. And one of those, we raised buildings that were single room occupancy. Yes, they were seedy hotels. I lived here then. The Warner Hotel was the biggest one. They were seedy. There was tons of porn theaters, absolutely. But when we took that down, we did not replace those single rooms, that type of housing. We did not replace that. And some of where we are now is a ripple from that. Not completely, but some of it is. And we still don't have any type of real single room occupancy. So yeah, you're right. It's not the tourism dollars' responsibility to fix that problem of homelessness, but they do fit together. And it's important to know that. And we are still a city in financial distress.
Thank you for those comments, Ben.
Thank you. I mean, that was, I was born in 71, but that was Mayor Reed that did that, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was. I'm not,
Just-
absolutely.
Well, no,
God rest his soul.
yeah, no,
I'm
it's-
just saying, he
but I think,
brought the Hilton in, right?
but I think that it is a balance, and I guess I've made a statement in the past. I mean, you look at places like Pittsburgh or Allentown where there's been, cooperation between the cities and the county government, and I think, we need to do a better job at that, and I'm hopeful that, the current administration as well as the current city administration can find a way to work cooperatively. We certainly have a legislative delegation that is concerned at the state level. So hopefully they can continue to work together to do the right thing. But I appreciate those comments very much.
Thank you.
And if we get in, and the other piece of it is the ecological impact on that particular piece of land. There are large, old trees there, and every time there's something there that presses down and compacts the soil, it degrades the health of those trees. And those trees are essentially like what they call, I guess, it's not sentinel trees, but there's a certain name for historic trees. Some of those trees have been there since Harrisburg was simply Harris Ferry.
And the cemetery's there too.
The cemetery is there too. It's not an appropriate place for a big festival.
Yeah, I don't know if there was any festivals there in the last 25, 30 years, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I know the hospital uses it for the little picnic thing.
That's a whole
Yeah,
different
it's a whole
thing.
different thing.
That's a whole different thing.
All right. Any board comments? I would once again want to reiterate, thank you for your faith in me as chair, but more importantly, I want to thank the staff. I don't think they get enough recognition for their hard work. As I've said before, for the size community that we have, we have a very small Department of Community and Economic Development. I think that the 3 people here and the 4 people that work in that department do an awful lot of work on a lot of programs and don't get the recognition that they deserve and the time that they put in. And I just know firsthand how much they care and how much they work. And so I just want to make sure that the public understands that we have a great community and economic development department. And, it's well recognized by folks in the legislature for the hard work that they do. And I just appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, we appreciate it.
Yes, and like we did in the IDA meeting, yeah, the next meeting location will be, we will advertise it, but we are moving the offices of Community and Economic Development back to the Dauphin County building, the administration building. And the next meeting on March 20th will be held there, probably at the second floor conference room. But we will notice that meeting.
I'm working with the commissioner's office now to verify that that room is available for all of our meetings.
Right.
We may have to find
A meeting space.
a meeting space. Our plan is the second floor, but I will let you know.
Thank you. So I'll look for a motion to adjourn at 1:01.
Second.
The motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. And we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.